Welcome back to day two. Those of you that are just joining us for the first time, hello and welcome to the retreat. Say hello in the chat as you come on in. So good to see you guys. Lots of familiar faces from yesterday. And I'm getting my chat turned on here. There we go. Yeah, what really stuck with you from yesterday? What was your takeaway that really landed for you? I would love to hear in the chat. If this is your first time joining us, I would also love to hear where are you calling in from? Oh, hello everyone. You guys, I'm so freaking excited. I yesterday I had a high off of day one that lasted probably like 3 hours. It was big one. Took me way up there. And then, all high things must come down. So of course there was the vulnerability dip that came about 3 o'clock in the afternoon that was like, hey, how are you? And so I took a nap. I took that sucker to a nap and I felt much better in the evening time. And this morning I woke up thinking about being with you all. So excited all over again. Oh, yes. Again, hello from the UK. Hey, Wanda, welcome back. Laura says we manifest at the level of our safety. That from the very first time I heard that, that really stuck with me. Oh, and creating safety for myself means making it safe for me to feel my feelings, right? Like, what even is safety? What does that even mean? I feel like yesterday was such an awesome deep dive into unpacking. What does it even mean to find a safe space, to be a safe space for ourselves? And today we're going to continue to build on that foundation. Similar to yesterday, we're going to start off with a dance party. I got a different song for you all. So if you want to dance, you're welcome to. You want to turn your camera off so you can really like have at it. Please enjoy the song in whatever way you want, even if that means go over to your wall and do a handstand, because why not? That's a great idea. Someone shared with me that that's how they use the energy building experience of the dance party. Whatever works for you, I'm here for it. Obviously, you're here for it. So today's song is called Effortless by Sabina Dumba, I believe is how you pronounce it. I'll send a link on the recap, same as I did yesterday. And without further ado, let's get this party started. Oh. I forgot a step already, you guys. Hang on. I got it. I got to do the thing where I share my sound with you. I learned that. So many skills. All right, computer audio, share. There we go. Now you should be able to hear it when I play it. Yes? Sweet. Okay.
So effortless. Everything feels brand new whenever I'm here with you. I don't wanna be nowhere else, but I guess you can already tell. It's feeling just like one love. It's pulling up both of us. No matter what seasons do, I'm always gonna roll with you. Cause we flow like a river, oh, bring sweet to the bitter, oh. If we fall, then we get up, oh. We don't even try to do it all. It's effortless, ooh, so effortless, ooh. It's effortless, we don't even try, not at all, not at all. So effortless, yeah. I'm gonna invest in us. I'm feeling like your good luck, like a $1 billion trust is just about to open up. We're glowing like bright sunlight, cause happiness justified. As long as we keep this tight, it's gonna be an easy ride. Cause we flow like a river, oh, bring sweet to the bitter, oh. If we fall, then we get up, oh. We don't even try to do it all. It's effortless, ooh, so effortless, ooh. It's effortless, we don't even try, not at all, not at all, not at all. drama. No, we don't work hard cause we don't gotta. Cause you and me don't get in that drama. No, 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 cause we flow like a river, oh, been sweet to the bitter, oh, if we fall then we get up, oh, we don't even try, cause do it all, it's effortless, ooh, so effortless, yeah, it's effortless, we don't even try, not at all, it's effortless. So effortless, it's effortless, so effortless.
And the ad that comes next. So that song is called Effortless, if you couldn't get that out of the many times we got to hear that word. And I felt like that was such a perfect start to what I want to cover today, which has to do with efforting, right? How much do we struggle versus how much do we let it be easy? And one of the words that I really want to bring in here right off the bat are two, actually. Number one is play. I want to know, maybe type a word or two in the chat. What comes to mind when you hear the word play? Like a word association test. Like, what's the first thing that comes? Take a second and feel into what's kind of the knee-jerk reaction, knee-jerk response to the word play. Fun, light, freedom, freedom to enjoy. Oh, I love these children. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, right? Living in our authentic self is all about freedom. So I love that that's coming through so strongly as far as an association with play. And Lainey hit the nail on the head with fun. What about the word fun? What's your first association word that comes with the word fun? Happy, allowed, really? Free, explore. Uh, those of you on the replay, I would love to hear in the comments too. Creative, enjoy again. Okay, so this is where we're circling around today is fun, play, and our inner child. Because that is the part of us that knows how to play, the part of us that knows what our unique brand of fun is. And connecting with our inner child is a muscle, just like we were talking about yesterday with our authenticity being, we take baby steps into our authenticity, we build up those muscles to be our real self, to live in our true nature. And same with our inner child, right? Like if that's something that's brand new to you, this comes from a school of thought called parts work. I've also heard it called internal family systems, where we have various parts of ourselves. Like just like we have an inner child, we also have our inner adult, we have our inner teenager, we have an inner baby, we have our inner authoritarian. There's all of these different pieces and parts of ourselves that make up that whole. And today, we're going to be tuning into our inner child because, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm not here to have your answers, right? I couldn't, even if I wanted to, which trust me, if I had them, I'd give them to you. But you have your answers. And the answers that you're seeking are locked away in each of these various parts of yourself, right? Your inner child will have part of it, your inner adult has part of it, and so on and so forth. So, today, our guided meditation that we're going to get into here in a moment is going to take us into connecting with our inner child and receiving whatever wisdom they feel like sharing with us today. Before we dive into that, though, I have a bit of a poem that, if it feels good to listen with your eyes closed, however you want to soak this in, is super good with me. And it does use the pronouns of her, but whoever you are, feel free to substitute the pronouns that work best for you. I invite you to imagine the most precious baby that you have ever seen. By some act of fate, You have been made responsible for her. You will witness her entire journey from childhood to death. You can learn what she desires, discover what brings her to life. Listen to what calls to her from the deepest parts of her being. You alone will feel her most electric and her most tragic moments. You are her sacred witness, her most faithful and trusted unconditional lover. Remember, that baby is you. Be gentle with her. And that poem is by Jody Lynn. So I will include that on the recap if that feels good to read again someday. And with that, we will also close our eyes and head into our guided meditation. And just start off with some very basic deep breaths to once again arrive in this moment, arrive in this space that we carved out for ourselves. Congratulations, by the way, on choosing to receive this, choosing to be here for you, to show up for you. We'll take a few deep breaths. I'm also going to turn on the background music. And like we did yesterday, let's practice with having our exhale be longer than our inhale as a signal to our body that we are indeed safe in this moment. One more deep breath. And now I want you to picture that you're sitting somewhere that you love. That can be next to a cozy fireplace. It can be on the beach somewhere, in a park, or right here where you are. You can't get it wrong. And as you sit there, notice what a beautiful day this is. How sweet the air smells. How good your breath feels going in and out, sending oxygen to your cells. Take another big deep breath. And now I want you to picture the most precious child you've ever seen walking up to you. Maybe they're 3, 4, 5, 6. This child is you. They're smiling so big because they're so happy to see you. And as they make it to your side, they're standing right next to you, wherever you're sitting. Notice what they're wearing. How long is their hair? What kind of shoes are on their feet? And now I want you to invite this child, your younger self, your inner child, to climb up onto your lap, wherever you're sitting. Maybe they want to put their head against your chest. Maybe they wrap their skinny little arms around you. Maybe they want to sit with their back to your front, like the little spoon. And just breathe with your inner child for a moment. Maybe you want to wrap your arms around them. You want to put your cheek on top of their head. Give them a kiss on their forehead. Notice what it feels like to hold yourself like this. Notice how relaxed they are or not. Notice how relaxed you are or not. There's no right or wrong. We're just noticing. Take a big deep breath together. And the first thing I want you to tell them is that this lap is there for them anytime they want. Watch them light up at hearing that they're always welcome. And now I want you to invite them to share something with you. What is it that they want you to know? What secret have they been keeping that they can't wait to tell you? Maybe they whisper it in your ear. Maybe they draw it on your hand. Maybe they pull a crumpled up piece of paper out of their pocket and show you a drawing that they made. What is it that they want to be witnessed in? Thank them for what they're willing to share with you. Tell them, I understand. It's okay, however they feel. Again, notice the sensations that are coming up in your body. It's okay if there's a story, but there doesn't have to be one. And now, what would you like to say to them? Maybe you want to hold them a little bit tighter and whisper something in their ear. What do you want them to know? Give them one more hug, one more cuddle, and tell them, I'll see you again soon. Remind them whenever they want to sit on your lap. All they have to do is come stand beside you, and you'll invite them in. Take a moment to squeeze their hand, and then start to wiggle your own fingers and toes. Take one final deep breath in this space. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So what was there? If it feels nice to write something in your journal, say a word or two in the chat. How did it feel to hold your inner child on your lap? Is that the first time you've done that? Do they sit there all the time? I guarantee they'll be there more often now that we've done this. What did they want to say to you? It was like time traveling. I'm so glad you said that. Again, you're pulling on threads of what we're going to talk about. What did you tell them? What did you say to them? What were the sensations that arose in your body, the visceral feelings that you had? I told her she was amazing just the way she is. Because she is. And how did it feel for her to hear that? That I do love her and will always care for her. Absolutely. Thank you for being you. She's so special. And really all she wants is for somebody, anybody, even ourselves, to tell her that. I've done it before, but never felt like this, that I will always be here for her and that God is always looking after us. How did she feel? Or he, your inner child, how did they feel sitting on your lap, cuddling into you? Happy, safe, at peace, safe. It's this easy to be a safe harbor for ourselves. And often when we don't feel safe, it is our inner child, our wounded inner child, that is the part of us that is struggling to find their place in the world. And again, pulling off of yesterday, there is no right or wrong. You're just telling her, you're great. Just like you are, you're worthy of a hug right here, right now. I find that, I do a lot of my morning time and journaling and meditating, sitting on my bed. And my inner child will come stand at the side of my bed often, like almost every day. And she crawls up in my lap. And she likes to be the little spoon. So she sits with her back on my front and we just breathe together. And it is such a peaceful experience. It's almost like a closed circle, like a closed circuit, closed loop of we have so much love to give. And sometimes we can feel lonely without someone to love. And On the other hand, we want to feel loved, we want to receive love from someone else. And I find this exercise of putting our inner child on our own lap is one of the quickest ways to close that loop and receive the powerful love that we have to give and to feel loved in an instant. It's incredible, the mama love that we each have. I mean, regardless of your gender, we each have an inner nurturer, another part of ourselves that's ready and willing and able to make someone feel so safe and so held. And turning that magic on ourselves is such a gift. Such a gift. So I'm going to stop the background music. Wanda says, I thought of a stray feral cat that I feel was my inner child. A little wild in there, was she? Like that's okay. That's okay. Loving my mother's inner child helped me forgive her so I could forgive myself, right? Like that's definitely next level as far as once we have a connection and an appreciation for our own inner child, our own inner wounded self that sometimes like does things that we don't really understand because they're hurt and they're acting out of pain. It really sheds a completely different light on other people and their behavior and why they're doing what they're doing. So I love that Janine is bringing that part in too. So let me stop the background music there. Find my way back onto the Zoom here. Oh, I see. The feral cat stayed around for 12 years. He was always in my lap. Our lap is a powerful place to be, and like I mean, I have multiple animals and sometimes they're like fighting over who gets to be in my lap right now. And they're like batting at each other. No, I want on. No, I want on. So like letting ourselves have a turn. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that it can feel that good? And again, totally free, totally available 24/7. You never leave home without it. And it's these kinds of practices that are my favorite forms of self-care because truly it is a matter of attention and focus and shining your light of awareness wherever you want it to go. Give me full body chills, right? So it's really, really just a matter of deciding that you want to feel loved and that you're willing to be the one who gives it to you, right? So that's available to us anytime. And I'm so curious what they said. What did they want you to know? Right? Because again, as far as our inner wisdom and our inner teacher, our inner child is, I would say, like one of the main leaders of who should have their hands on the steering wheel, right? It may not seem wise to have a 3-year-old driving your car, but I mean, it's worth a shot as far as like, what do they want you to do on a daily basis? What's fun for them? What feels like play for them? She told me she admires me, and that made me cry. That's going to make me cry, right? Like that she's proud of where we've come to, and I'm proud of her, right? That like, and okay, so Deborah mentioned time travel. It felt like time traveling. And so I'm going to tell you just a little story here that just came to mind where being with our inner child is possible if we want to believe that it is. And there are two different ways to practice this. Number one is like go back to one of your most proud moments in childhood that like you did something, you had an achievement, you had like a really, like I think of like I won a spelling bee in 4th grade. And I felt like nobody cared. Nobody gave a shit that I won the spelling bee. Nobody was like, throwing me a parade or whatever. And so I often revisit that moment through this time traveling experience. I go back and I take her to the side and I tell her, dude, that's badass. That's amazing. How do you want to celebrate? Let's celebrate, right? Like, so helping to lift up your inner child, even in the past, in your memories of the moments that you want to revisit to help shed some light and some excitement and some enthusiasm on her, or vice versa, the moments where you felt at rock bottom, like you were totally alone, like nobody cared. The people who were supposed to care were the ones making you feel that way. And I go back and it almost feels like I am my own guardian angel at that point. Like I literally have wings. And especially there's one, it was in fifth grade, and oh God, I don't know if I've ever cried that hard in my whole life. And I was in the shower and I just stayed in there. The water was eventually cold, and I just stayed in there because I wasn't done yet. And I go back to that shower and I sit with her and I hold her in my wings and I let her know, I whisper in her ear, "You're not alone. You're not alone." And I've done that about 5,000 times. And, I mentioned yesterday that there were moments in my life where I didn't want it. I didn't want my life. And I I honestly don't know how I survived that chapter. And I'm so grateful that I did. I'm so grateful to be sitting here today. And it makes me wonder, like, me in my current self these last couple years as I've been doing this time traveling back to those moments, like if I wasn't my own strength to get myself through those moments. And so at any point in the future you, right, is able to continue to go back to pour strength into even your right now self if you feel like you need it, right? We can do actually tomorrow, we're going to connect into our future self. We're going to get to meet her. And doing this bit of time traveling, of getting to meet yourself as far as like you've already survived every hard thing that you lived through, right? And you have the wisdom of that to offer. And so, even just taking the time to offer it, it may seem like, that was 30 years ago. Like, what difference does it make? Well, sure makes me feel less alone in that shower, And at the time, I felt like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just felt so lost and so alone. And yet eventually I picked myself up off the floor of the shower and I got out and I moved on with my life. And so how did I do that? I don't know. Was it the future me pouring strength into that moment? I don't know. Does it make me feel good right here, right now to practice this? Yes. It makes me feel less alone simply by being there with myself. So with that, we are already, these go by so fast. We are already to the hot seat. We're already to the point where I would like to invite one of you to come forward and ask a question or share your experience about, related to this conversation. And I'll take a second and open it up to if you'd like to volunteer. I see Deborah already waving at me. Oh, please, please, Deborah, here, let me invite you to unmute. We'll have a 10 or 15-minute conversation. Be sure to let us know in the chat if you're resonating. There we go.
I am. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, wow. This was amazing. Oh,
I'm so glad you loved it.
yeah. And exactly about what you were talking about. Um, well, at some point in my life, I wanted to take my life as well, and I was ready. And it's going to sound very dramatic, but I did have a gun, and I loaded the gun. And I sat on my bed and I was so desperate. I really didn't want to be here anymore. And I was just in such state of, of well, I don't know. I was just suffering so much. And in that moment of like the moment, I even laugh now about it because it's been such a drama. I promise, I swear to God, I heard a voice right on this ear coming from outside that said, "Not today." And I was like, what? I was like, "Ooh," and like, but it broke the spell, I was like in this trance, focused on what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And this voice, actually, it was kind of like a funny, because it was this, not today. And I was just
Mm.
so angry at that moment. And so that, obviously, that broke the spell. And the following day, somebody invited me to a course, a self-esteem course that changed my life, obviously, and I'm here. And it was just incredible. But many years after, I was driving back home after a session with a shaman, with a teacher shaman that I had. And out of nowhere, I was driving, and it was like, that was me. That was my future me saying, not today, because I kind of actually recognized the voice, or that that's my favorite phrase, saying, not today. So it was just so amazing to realize that it was myself, not the angels, not, it's me. I am protecting myself. I am there for myself, and I
Yeah.
have been all the time, even if I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible story.
Mm.
um and realizing that it was my future self, maybe not the one right now, but maybe a future self
Sure.
but
Oh,
yeah, so that's my story.
wow. I got chills multiple times as you were telling that, and have had other experiences myself where I heard a voice, like a real voice talking in my ear that said, don't do this, like, and in those moments, it was like my whole body already knew that I was going to listen to it, that like the voice had spoken. And I've come to similar conclusions of like, that was my future self telling
Yeah,
me, like, you're not done here yet.
yeah,
That's not the right way, you
yeah,
know? And so to be willing to play the part of future you, to revisit those moments and project yourself back to those moments and offer strength to the version of you who didn't have any in that time. Again, like, does it work? Where's my proof? I got no idea. I have no idea. But it absolutely is that closed loop experience of helping me to feel better today. And
yeah.
it also reminds me of there's like I forget which Harry Potter movie this is. It might have been The Prisoner of Azkaban, but like at the end where they have the time turner and there's like he goes back to the moment and he's like, no, my dad's gonna come at any moment. And then he realizes that it's him,
It's
that
him.
he steps in and he protects himself and like plays that part for himself. And
Yeah,
so waiting for others to like come in and intervene is an option, right? We all get to choose. We have free will, but we can also be the one who has the strength to offer. So I thank you for sharing that. And I got to think like, conditioning and being alive inside of culture is heavy. It's it's a lot. So if ever anybody has had an experience where like I don't see the point in this. Like I legitimately don't want to continue. Like again, such a relatable feeling, at least from my experience it is. Thank you,
yeah.
Deborah, for sharing
Oh,
that.
you're
Mm,
welcome.
you are so great. Um, we actually have time for a little bit more. Do you have a question or possibly I could call somebody else forward?
Call somebody. That's
Okay.
yeah,
You feel
awesome.
good. That's perfect.
Thank you
That's what
very
I want.
much.
You are so
Uh,
welcome. Would anybody else like to share or ask a question? Mm. Janine, would you like to? Yeah? Okay, great. Here, I'm going to ask you to unmute. There we go.
Thank you. I've been working. I was first suicidal when I was 10. So I've been working with this self-destructive energy. I'm 68. So a long time. It was a great breakthrough when I stopped having um, dreams where I would cut myself. That was
Mm.
cutting that I did for a long time. So I found cognitive behavioral therapy really, really helpful. And I've used it for many, many years, but my body is still attacking itself.
Mm.
And I've learned to love the little girl. She spent a lot of time in my arms, actually. I have pictures of her from the time my mother said that she would just leave me in the crib with the bottles.
Mm.
And and so that abandonment goes back a long time. Um, and I've moved from working with her as an infant to working with my abandoned teenager. I was out on my own at 16 and a lot of negative. I was really wounded by the world. I was very trusting. I'm by nature a very positive person. And so I find myself in a place in my life where I'm generally full of love and gratitude for being alive, but my body is attacking itself. I have several very severe immune system diseases at this
Mm.
point, which of course modern medicine doesn't know anything about and just says, here, you have to take these pills. But I still feel at some deep level, even though I've really tried to be my own best sister, because I have twin brothers, and seeing how wonderful it was for my brothers to always be there for each other, I
Yeah.
wanted that too. But being the eldest, I'd learned that jealousy doesn't help at all. So instead of being jealous that I didn't have a twin to look after myself, I decided I would be my own twin. So I'm still trying to be open to the universe to ask me to heal whatever part of myself is still attacking, because that is essentially what immune system diseases are.
Right. I,
So do you
yeah.
have any insight, or because I've been meditating on this for quite some time now, and it's a kind of arthritic condition, polymyalgia rheumatica, and unless I take the steroids that make me so puffy, I can't do my yoga, I can't stoke my stove, I can't live in my cabin in the forest.
Mm.
But of course, those that medication leads to heart disease and diabetes and stroke. So I don't want to take it. I want to
Mm.
work with my body and believe that it is a manifestation. And I'm trying to love myself 20 years in the future. So I do now what I can to die a good death at peace here in my cabin in the forest. Any insights that you or anyone has in healing my overactive immune system, that now I have no desire, like I eat really well, I exercise really well, I'm really so grateful for my joy and my peace. I just need to go a little deeper with it so that my body stops attacking itself.
Yeah. Gosh, again, I wish I had answers. I really do. I would give them to you in a heartbeat. And if anybody has thoughts that come through that feel good to share in the chat, please do that. And Janine can read it all. Um, the thing that comes to mind is like spiritual bypassing. Okay. And I'm sure you're familiar. I'm sure everyone has heard that term where I feel myself doing it often, where one of the first spiritual practices I learned was being grateful, like learning to have an attitude of gratitude,
Yeah.
right? Yes. And that can bite you on the ass because then you're denying what's real, right? Like it's like, like you said, jealousy doesn't help, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
It
doesn't.
does. It does because it's real. It's real and it exists, and we can't deny any of our feelings.
Well, I don't feel it's denial. Like I feel it. Oh my goodness. And then I just try not to hold on to it. Okay, I'm feeling really jealous at this moment. Well, I'd rather decide to be grateful that I'm alive than jealous of someone that has a loving mother.
Okay. How deep do you dive into the jealousy?
I have well, in the past, okay, so let's say, so I started my career as an organic inspector 30 years ago, and I almost couldn't stay with it because almost all of the organic farms were intergenerational, where loving parents had done the work and then were working with their adult children, and that whole integrated, healthy family that's actually loving and supporting one another and feeding other human beings. I was so grateful to be able to work with those people, but then I would come home after my work and just grieve for
Yes.
not having anything like that. And and I don't think I stay in, like, I know that envy is a sin. And I think I learned that being the youngest of the four kids, where I had to help and I wanted to feel good from helping, not stay in that painful place. But I've been in that painful place and moved myself from it, which I think is different than denial, Carly.
Well, and I'm not necessarily saying denial, but when you say jealousy isn't helpful, envy is a sin, you're creating a category of emotion that's not allowed.
Okay. I think I did go there. I mean, I didn't, it's just like later on when I would go to, okay, well, I'll just drive my car into this big semi truck. And then I would think, well, no, what trauma for the driver? That's really selfish of you, Janine. So I do feel that I am extremely grateful for my capacity to have empathy for other people and not want to foist my pain or suffering onto others, because I know, I think you've seen it in my chart. Whatever I put out comes right back to me right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have everything on the angles. I have like a grand trine, and the whole, my, like, Uranus is in my sixth, which is opposite my sun in my first in Aquarius, with Aquarius rising. And so it is in my nature to be concerned about others. I just would like to calm this. Uranus in my sixth seems to have given me all these nervous conditions in my body, whereas my heart really does feel full of love and joy for being here. And if I have to live with this pain, I'm living with it. I mean, I would just like to be able to go deeper. And I know that loving my inner child has helped me find as much joy and peace, because I know how playful and happy she can be. And she is by nature. And I go to that. I've gone to that. That has helped me so much. I think instead of pharmaceutical drugs, which of course my mother had me put on right away, and I was addicted to Valium for many years, and I drank heavily for a long time, and just being inside myself, being with that inner child, holding her, whether she was at 8 months or 3 years when she was trying desperately to help with the twin babies and the little sister. And so my mother had four of us in 3 years. So I started being the helper really young. And that helper is helping me. And I give her time off to just play. I give her lots of time off to play. But thank you. I will look. I don't want to push away that I may be not staying. It's just that with the pain, but there have been years where I would have to set aside a weekend every month to just grieve and cry because there
Yeah.
was so much pain. And I have committed that to myself, where I've done that. In order to be a good parent, I had to have time when I could segregate myself to just grieve. Because
Yeah.
also, I'm so connected to the grief in the world and all of the lack of compassion and love that I see around me, to our soil and our air and our water, that I will, in my meditation, see if there's more in there, Carly, that I have moved away too quickly from.
The
So thank you for that reminder.
You're welcome. And, this is just what I'm able to reflect back based on what you offered. And so the recording might be helpful too, as far as listening to yourself and see what might want to be reflected. The one more piece that you offered there, as far as like putting it into a category where it's not allowed, is you saying, like, I don't want to be selfish.
I have spent a lot of time on self care. And a lot of my female friends seek me out to reinforce their ability to care for themselves. Because, well, for one thing, I gave up on trying to care for men a long, long time ago. And so I've been very happy being single and caring for myself. Yes, I do live on a co-op, so I care for the men on the co-op just in terms of keeping our co-op land functioning together. And that takes quite a bit. So I'm not totally free of that. But yes, okay.
I think of like when I hear the word selfish, I think of like the redwood trees in California that
Mhm.
are 100 plus years old. They are the tallest trees in the world, like close to it, if not exactly.
Yeah.
And they soak up so much resource. Okay. And like they're not standing there being like, well, I don't want to take too much and, I
Mhm.
better not be selfish. No, their job is to grow and take as much as what they need to grow and take and grow and take because they create habitat for other creatures, right? The birds that live in those branches, you know, worms that live in the dirt with the roots. Like there's so much that they provide through selfishness. So like selfishness, I got a thing with like, please be more selfish, please. Because you taking what you need and having what you need is creating that environment, that ecosystem for others. Like you said, of like you've worked so hard on it, and now other people are able to come and sit in the shade of your branches because you grew those branches,
Mhm.
right? So again, I think you listening to you on the recording is probably going to be the best, like you tapping into your own inner wisdom as you reflect on what you offered here. My heart goes out to you with the pain that you're in. I don't wish that for anyone. And the chat had a lot offered. So
Yes,
again, take it with a grain of salt and let it run through your system and see what might feel good there. And thank you for sharing what you've shared because every single ounce of it was relatable. Every single person through culture gets taught what emotions are okay and which ones are not. What behavior is allowed and what behavior is not allowed. And selfishness is demonized in our culture. Pretty much wherever you grew up, that's not allowed. It's like,
Mhm.
don't be like, you should think of others. You should put others' needs before yourself. And I'm not saying don't think of others. I'm just saying that the redwood tree doesn't do anybody any good if it only stays a little sprout. Like that's not creating anything for anybody to be able to give its gifts to the world. So
Well,
yeah,
thank you for creating this sisterhood, and thank you, sisters, here. The energy. I know we amplify each other's energy, so I appreciate the healing space you created.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Hopefully there was something in there for everyone to be able to take and reflect on and think about, how much of our full spectrum of emotion and full spectrum of experience is able to play itself out, right? Like what are we allowing within ourselves and what are we stifling? And we don't mean to stifle, right? Like the whole point of repression is that it's an unconscious process. And so those kinds of blind spots, like it's really hard to see them until you get into a space with other people and let them reflect to you, which takes so much strength to be able to show up and be like, here's what I got going on. What do you think? And dude, like just kudos to Deborah and Janine today for being willing to step up and be seen and offer something that hopefully had value for the entire group. Absolutely. Thank you. And again, like getting to host these sessions is so much fun for me. Getting to be with you, again, like I said yesterday with the Sacred Circle, like every single bit of your natural energy is allowed in the weekly Sacred Circle that I host that happens every Saturday. If you're feeling heaviness that you don't understand, bring it. And even if you don't want to be the one that talks about it and tries to unpack it in front of the group, chances are somebody else is going to say something that helps you to start to pull those threads apart. And the community and the sisterhood, whether, it's open to all genders, by the way, but yes, like it's a safe place for allowing whatever is inside of you to be able to come forward and be seen and witnessed and continuing to parse out the little doses of like, hey, here's a cool thing that I've learned, and here's a cool meditation that I really enjoy. Maybe you like to try it. So that sacred circle happens every Saturday. And as part of registering for the free retreat, everyone is invited to next Saturday. So March 23rd, 10 a.m. Central Time. Would love to have you there. And also, I have one other offer that I forgot to mention yesterday, but as part of this, I set up a coupon, called Retreat 20 that gets you 20% off of any of my one-on-one sessions. So that is good through the end of April. So as many of them as you want to buy, you just have to purchase by the end of April, and then you can schedule them whenever, like into the future. You wouldn't have to use all the sessions in April. But just as a thank you for anyone who came through this space and might be interested in sitting with me one-on-one and diving a little bit deeper into whatever it is that you have going on. Um, I think Oh, and I made this after we got off the Zoom yesterday, but I also set up a link where if you want to come to like one sacred circle, instead of signing up for $45 a month and having access to all of them all the time, you can also drop in at just the next one. So for $15, you can come to the next one. So if ever you find yourself like really needing some community this week, I really want to be there on Saturday, that's now open and available where you can just pop in at the ones that you want to be at. Um, and yeah, all of these options are on the table for you. So we shall conclude with our giveaways for today. And this one is, oh, Wanda, can you put your email in the chat or send me an email at Owning Authenticity? We cannot find you on the registration report. So I can't email you for like setting up your prize, but you won. You won the prize. So woo woo. And the prize, let me just tell you what it is. She's already excited. I love it. The prize is a free 45-minute one-on-one session where we can connect together over Zoom and dive into whatever you want. I offer natal chart readings. We can look just at your North Node. We could talk about your Saturn return since it sounds like that's really close by. But make sure you send me your email so that we can work out getting you scheduled for that. And the winner of the ebook. So I have 4 ebooks available on my Etsy shop. I also have printed versions of each ebook available on my Etsy shop and international shipping. They can ship to wherever you are. But the person who gets to choose one of the ebooks is Tony Griggs. Thank you so much, Tony, for being here. So good to see you. Tony and I did a couple heart-to-hearts here like 2 years ago. He is also who taught me how to meditate, you guys. Like, he changed my freaking life. Like, he told me, he's like, it's just being with yourself, like you're somebody that you love. And I'm like, oh, wait, I love me. I can do that. And it just revolutionized like how I want to even think about meditation. So, Tony, I shall email you to ask you about which of the 4 ebooks you would like to receive, and then I can send that over to you. Wanda, great. I've got your email now, so we can set you up with the free 45-minute session. And tomorrow, Monday, we are back at 10 a.m. Central Time. If you can be here, we're on the same Zoom link. I'll send it out again tomorrow morning. We've still got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday left. And whichever days you can be at, great. If you got to catch the replay, that's no problem. Once again, this was amazing to be with you guys and to get to relate with other people who are on this journey of wanting to enjoy their lives. Right? Like, it's no small thing. And I thank you for every ounce of work you do to feel your way into your own authenticity, to cry your own tears, to dive into your own depths. That's not easy. And I see you, I witness you doing that, and I thank you for it. It's a gift to the collective. Please keep it up. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye.